Hello, ho, ho, and welcome to Review for Christmas. I am Ariel.
And I'm Chelsea.
And this is episode 1 of the Christmas Prince trilogy. I keep calling it the Princess Switch trilogy. Huh? A little disrespectful to Princess Switch.
Yeah, Vanessa Hudgens deserves better. Put some respect on her name.
Before I get into the Christmas Prince, I have a corrections corner.
She does, and I don't know what it is. She will not tell me.
So I brought this episode. So if anyone's been listening for all 3 seasons now, they will know that I perpetually say I'm going to bring a ratings list, and I never do. Right. Today I did.
Like the Grand Master list?
The Grand Master list. I've got things by season. I've got them all overall put together. It's great. I got it. I double-checked some of my numbers on what I had as my ratings list because I noticed a mistake. I had one movie put twice on my little ratings tree, and I was like, oh, what happened? So I went through every episode of our show and updated my ratings.
Okay.
And, all right, let's see. Well, let me just, the first thing is that in Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe episode, I say that the Noel Diary was given a 7.25. And we get extremely upset that it has a 7 and it's overshadowing movies that are better than it.
Sure. We
get really, really mad. And we spend a good couple minutes. Like every movie, I'm like, Noel Diary beats this. You're just like falling over your chair, upset about it. Well, fun fact, they got a 6.25. And from the moment I wrote down my notes, I wrote a 7, not a 6. And so it's been getting undue credit.
Yes! This is the best July Christmas gift I've ever been given. Terrible movie with a hot man.
Oh, so attractive.
Miranda did not like that. She doesn't like when I sing talk.
She doesn't like sing talking?
No, she's a brat.
Well, we love her. So you can love a brat. I love myself. Yeah. By Princess Switch 3, everything is okay. The ratings were all to date. So I just need to say, also, did you know that you rated Holiday lower than I'd rated Holiday?
I did know that.
I did not know that. You gave it a 6.5? Yeah. No, you gave it a 5.75, and I gave it a 6.5.
As its total score?
Its total score for you was a 5.75.
It sounds wrong, but I believe you.
It's amazing for a movie you defend to me. Like, you taught me to love Holiday.
Yeah. Well, we probably rated it, I think we rated The Cheer really low.
Yes.
I think both of us rated The Cheer really low because it wasn't actually Christmas. It was.
And it felt like every time celebrating a holiday was just drinking in a holiday-themed garb.
Well, right.
It's not Cheer.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, I think, and that was like, I think that was one of the movies where we realized Cheer can make or break something because everything is all pretty middle of the road, a bunch of 7s here and there. But like
Cheer can and we bring that up a lot in season 2, I think.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, that Cheer score, like Love Lights Hanukkah, that movie got a lot higher points than it could have because they did the Cheer, man.
It felt like Hanukkah.
It felt like Hanukkah, unlike My Secret Valentine.
Which felt like Christmas.
That'll never die for me. It was a Christmas movie. So I just wanted to cover that really quickly. Not like I think anyone's really paying that much attention, but you know me.
Did you listen to us rate the Noel Diary on the episode to confirm?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why? Of course you did. What a silly question. How dare I question your thoroughness? Throw me in the dungeon.
Oh.
I have feelings on the dungeon.
Get me started on the dungeon.
Nope, get ready.
Okay, let's get into this movie.
Let's get into it.
So, this is Christmas Prince. It's from Netflix 2017.
Yes.
I noticed I didn't write the year for any of the preceding movies.
I think it's 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, one after another, which would make sense.
Because I think they literally declare December 24th, 2019 at the last one. Like it's like literally on 11:59 on December 24th, 2019.
That's exactly what
they sound like.
Those are the words, actually. So the cast is the character Amber is played by Rose McIver. I think that's how we say it. I
already have a celebrity lookalike.
Okay.
She kind of reminds me of a woman named Joanna Garcia Swisher, and I typed in Rose McIver look look, and it was like, looks like Joanna, and it
Shut
did it.
up.
It did it for me, and I went, okay, Google. But yeah, that's who I thought she looked like. I'm gonna have another one in a second too, so please continue on.
But she is in a TV show called Ghosts that I don't know, and a TV show called iZombie.
Ghosts, like the newest show, or Ghost without?
Ghosts, like a new show.
Yeah, so I've never watched it, but I really want to.
It looks funny.
It looks very funny.
So it looks like something you'd watch.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah,
I don't watch comedy, I make it.
Can't even.
I got you. I got you. But yes, she's also in iZombie.
I have never watched that.
Never watched it, and
I think it's technically up my alley.
Isn't it? She's a zombie detective or something.
Yeah, if she consumes their brain, she can see their last minutes alive or something. So she solves the case.
What a concept!
I mean, in terms of creativity, but like my goodness,
high plot points. Oh, by the way, in season 1, we were saying 10 snowflakes.
Oh yeah,
Rated out as snowflakes, and I was like, we ditched that.
We ditched the snowflakes. Yeah,
I think we probably just forgot and moved on.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anything. If it slips out,
it's gone
show's
forever.
Never seeing it again.
Yeah.
And then we have Ben Lamb, who plays Prince Richard Gettin. What is it?
This is to quote one of my favorite quotes by Eric Andre. I'm going to say something controversial yet brave. Hot Mike Birbiglia.
Shut up.
Which Mike Birbiglia is very cute, but it's just like it's like if you put that like gorgeous feature on him and made him angular.
Can you pull up I mean, I know what Mike Birbiglia looks like, but I just need to know.
I know. It's probably wrong.
Oh, my God.
But I was like, his face, there's something in his face. And then let me pull up Ben Lamb, too. I was like, it's not Nate Bargatze. Okay. All right.
I'm obsessed. This is so good.
Thank you.
Because Mike Birbiglia is the kind of guy who Ariel would fall in love with if she knew him in person. I'd be like, I think I'll marry this man. Though, my God, would I marry Ben Lamb?
So we've got Birbigs.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Right?
Is Mike Birbiglia Ben Lamb's, like, quirky younger brother?
It's like if you put him in the filter that made everything angular and then made him British.
If you buffed him up and made him British.
I was like, who do you remind me of? And it was Mike Birbiglia.
That makes me so
Also, Mike
happy.
Birbiglia, hold for train. Actually, it's not that loud. Let the record show, I find you very attractive.
Oh, Mike Birbiglia?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want anyone thinking that I, am out here insulting a man who is a great comedian and was in a Taylor Swift music video.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He was an anti-hero. He played her son at her funeral. It's so good.
Yeah, I've loved him since I was a young
buck,
a young teen bean. But Ben Lamb is in a lot of stuff. I don't know. He was in Astringent. I mean Divergent.
Who's he in
plays
Divergent?
A character. Okay, so Edward. Do you know a character named Edward? By the way, the Astringent is a joke. Chelsea could not remember the second Divergent movie name, and she said it was Astringent.
I could not remember.
And now I can't get over it. I think it's so funny.
One of the funniest things I've ever said.
And I'm one of those people that when I think a joke is funny, I'm going to say it as much as I can for the next decade and maybe longer. The only person who does it more than me is my sister, and she's going to be like, Ariel. She's going to roll her eyes at me when I say that.
I don't remember this guy at all.
He might be very unimportant side character. I mean, he has a name.
If it's who I think it is, he's not very important.
And then I have a question.
Yeah.
Does the character 4 in Divergent, Theo James?
Theo
James, 2 first names. Okay. Theo James. Oh, Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Theo James is the lead in Sanditon, season 1.
I do love me some Theo James.
And I did not know Theo James. And when I met him, I went, okay. And then he gets going, and I went, okay.
He's very good in Divergent.
And now, like, he's my what's his name in Irish Wish? James Thomas? 2 first names. I hear Chelsea in my head.
2 first names.
Someone has 2 first names, I hear Chelsea from Irish Wish.
2 first names.
2 first names.
Patrick Kelly, 2 first names.
Yeah, so now, but Theo James is my number 1. I actually wrote it with 3 A's and 3 M's. Theo James. So
I like that it rhymes.
I do too. I'm mad at him, but I love him. So that's it. I didn't write any of the other cast down. Sorry.
I have just one.
I should have written someone down. Who do you have?
Oh, I just have Simon.
Oh yes, you've got Simon commentary.
Just because this is for my husband, really, who does not care. He could not care less. But Theo Devaney, who plays Simon, who kind of looks like evil Darren Criss. Come on, from Glee?
Do you think I have watched a minute of Glee in my life?
No.
I've never watched, the only thing I know is that Court Overstreet is in Glee.
Court Overstreet is in Glee.
There we go. Yeah, I can get it.
I don't know. British Darren Criss.
The Brit, it changes the facial structure.
Somehow.
Actually, it does.
It kind of does a little bit.
It does. There's a difference in American and British faces.
I was like, I've seen this man before, looked him up, didn't recognize any of his credits. A lot of it's video games.
Oh, cool.
Like, it was just voiceover work was like how he got it started. But he plays the reenactment serial killer on an episode of American Monster, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, that's
I don't remember who it
cool.
was, Ben something. Okay. I didn't clock it, didn't recognize the name. And then my husband's really into the game Warhammer 40K, and one of his earliest credits was a Space Marine voice in the Warhammer Space Marine video game. So I just wanted to give him that credit.
And there is a character that I did not write down her name, but I should have included Princess Emily. Sorry, she's one of the best actors in this entire thing, and she's a teen.
She's incredible.
13, and she's incredible.
Yeah, she's way better than the rest of them.
She holds the movie on her shoulders. Though I actually really like Ben Lamb.
Me too.
I like him a lot, but I think those two do a lot of
the work.
Yep. So I don't know her name. I didn't write it down.
Do you want me to look it up?
I feel like we need to respect her and say her name. She's also very seasoned. I looked at her IMDb credits, and there's a lot. I didn't spend a lot of time, but like you can tell this chick, her parents were probably like, put her in acting now. And it shows because she does a lot of...
I was mildly convinced she was in one of the Willy Wonka movies. She looks like a Veruca. She's not. She's totally but she looked like Veruca Salt to me, and that's where I thought I knew her from.
You can say her name, too.
Yes, sorry. Honor Neefsey.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't remember it. Yep. It's a name.
Honor is quite the name. Good for her. Yeah, but so she's got 24 credits at age 13, and now, so that was 2017, she was 13, so what now? She's not even 20 yet?
Yeah.
Am I doing my math right?
Probably.
Okay. So yeah, Honor, we're big fans of you.
And you deserve credit that I didn't give you in the beginning because I didn't know you were going to need it in the beginning.
We didn't know.
You know, I didn't know. I thought you were just going to be a side character. The mom in this movie seems to be a well-known British actress. I didn't write her down either.
She had, this is so picky of me.
Yeah.
She had my least favorite British thing, which is where your R's and your W's kind of sound the same.
Oh, I love it. Ugh. But I'm an Anglophile deep down in my little heart. So for me, the more British you sound, the more I'm like, who talk Cockney to me.
Speak it.
Call blimey. Okay,
Governor.
So really quickly, I just want to say, I wrote this down and I don't remember writing this down, but I think what's interesting is this movie was so popular when it came out. Like it came out like gangbusters. And I don't think these movies were, okay, not to spoil anything, I don't think they were popular because they were good. I think they were popular because Hallmark puts all this type of movie behind a paywall. This was all we could get.
This was Netflix doing Hallmark.
Yeah, and we weren't getting it anywhere else, so it filled something and started the trend. Like, I feel like this really started Hallmark for our age group, this kind of romance Christmas movie.
And my true, honest opinion is when Hallmark tried to remake this movie, they did a very bad job.
Which one was it?
A Royal Christmas Crush.
They do a Christmas Royal Prince movie all the time.
I know, but the sneaking in... A Royal Christmas Crush came after.
And he's like he doesn't want to take the responsibility. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
And it's bad. This is better than that.
This is so much better than that. And that's saying things.
I mean, I don't know based on the score. I'd have to look at my Royal Christmas Crush score. But that was one of that was one of the things that like occurred to me while I was watching this. I was like, Netflix can kind of do Hallmark. I don't know if Hallmark can do Netflix.
Which isn't, that's meta. That's 5D chess right there. Like, That's a tough one. So, all right, let's get into the movie, people. We've been chatting your ear off.
No, but that's under 20 minutes.
That's why you show up.
Under 20 minutes. Some of it was you just switching out a chair. We're fine.
Yes, ma'am. We start in New York.
We do.
We start in New York. And Amber is a big city baby.
Big city
she
baby.
She is working as a junior editor at Now Beat. I think it is Now Beat, or it's Beat Now. They tell me in the third movie.
Yes, they do tell us in the third movie.
It's spoilers. They actually correct it. Maybe it's the second movie. They actually correct how to say it. And we'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I wrote it down.
I wrote it down.
So her boss, Max, why did I write it in all caps? Her boss, Max, calls her in and tells her that she needs to cover the story of the Prince of Aldovia. So the king of Aldovia died a year ago, and there's this thing that for the year, at the end of the year, something
by Christmas
expires. Eve. Yeah, but it's a 1 year line. Like he died on Christmas or something.
Right.
Anyway, there's a 1 year line, and the flaky playboy prince has been gone.
MIA, baby.
He's MIA, and they're worried he's going to abdicate.
I love that word.
I like it, too.
It's one of my favorite words.
I like that you like it more than I like it itself.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, she asked the question, she goes, why me? And I'm like, freaking valid, because you're a junior editor. Why put you on this story?
So I think it's because her boss knows that she's actually doing all the work of the guy who's copied. Oh, just kidding.
They say she's talented, hungry, smart, and none of the regular writers could go.
Oh, that's right. One of the commentaries I had at the very start was like when the guy that she edits for she needed him to like pare it down. And he was like, just do it. So she's basically going to rewrite his everything. And I was just like, I'm really glad that no matter what job you have, it really seems to suck. Like, I'm glad that like I'm not alone and that everyone's job is terrible. Like, I don't know anyone who like truly loves their work.
I love my work, but that's different. I don't work corporate. Your job will be terrible until you move to a small town and uproot your entire life.
God, you're so right, Kyle.
Big
Let's go.
city bad, baby.
Kyle and I need to abandon this place.
You need to join a small company and start doing community work.
You're absolutely correct.
All right? Follow the Hallmark principles, and you'll love your job, and your boss won't be bad. But don't follow the Hallmark. No, actually, follow the Hallmark principles, because even in their murder mysteries, the bosses are fine.
Yep. You're right.
There we go.
Yep.
So obviously, she's going to take this job. Why would you not? She's not going to be here for Christmas.
It's a free trip to Aldovia.
You can go to Aldovia. Where's Princess Switch? Is it
Moldovia?
It's
like Moldovia
right?
or something.
Moldovia? Yeah. Because when they said Aldovia, I was like, isn't that the one in Princess Switch? I'm like, no, because they're not in the same. They're different princes.
No, and don't you think Aldovia sounds like it should be a Scandinavian country?
Ooh.
And all of them are British?
Oh, because British is foreign.
Right.
If you are in another country, you're British, unless you're Stephen Huszar.
And then you're whatever you want to be.
Then you are Batman.
Where are the drugs?
Yeah. I don't want to be Prince.
I'm 45. I'm so sorry, Stephen. I'm the worst.
She really trolls on you a lot. I am here as your advocate. You know that.
Yep.
You know that, Stephen. Because you're listening. Stephen would not listen to us. No. He does not care.
No.
He looks like someone who really wouldn't even sympathy listen to us.
No.
Like, no, I don't care.
No.
So she takes the job, and her two work pals, they're like besties. They're like looking at pictures of him, and she's like, he's a creep and not a hottie. And I'm like, he can be a hottie and a creep at the same time.
He can do both. Find you a man who can do both.
Yeah. And they also bring up, because naturally, I didn't think about this till I was like days later. I watched this like
2 days ago.
5 days ago, max. She went through a breakup a year ago. And they're like, you're not even over your breakup yet. And she's like, it's all about my career. And I'm like, can't we have people who maybe broke up 4 years ago and are still humans and like don't need to just be like lusting after every attractive man?
Not in a romance.
Not in a romance. I mean, look, if I was this woman, I would be making up scenarios where I met this man and he fell in love with me. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that any attractive man, my friends are like sympathy, like, hey, you haven't been with anyone for 4 years. You need to move on. And I'm like, I'm so glad none of you guys did that to me. I did it to me more than you did it to me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Should be her dad next, right?
Yeah, no, I was trying to read a note I had. I laughed because I said it feels ridiculous to think that it even matters if he's hot because she's a reporter. So, like, why would it even matter? Like, you should consider him. Like, she's a reporter, but...
Also, she's a reporter from New York, and he's a literal king to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of, there's, I forgot what it was. It was probably a TikTok, but in Bridgerton season 2, the lead Antony is actually played by a gay man.
Oh.
And there were people, when they found that out, there were women that were like, oh my God, no. And it's like, oh, you thought now you can't have him because he's gay? Like you thought he was attainable to you before then?
That's a really good point. You thought
like, it's like if I
anyway?
truly believed I could be, like Kyle and I have an ongoing joke that my second choice to Kyle is Ryan Gosling. And his second choice to me is Ana de Armas. Second choice, as if we're each other somehow first beyond the hottest celebrities we've ever seen. Like, that's like, it's so funny because it's like Ryan Gosling would never deign to notice me. And that's okay. We have the same birthday and that's good enough.
Shut up, do you?
November 12th, baby.
So
I think
funny.
he's 87 though.
Yeah, no.
Are we lost? Did we lose ourselves?
We got tangenty. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So we go later. She goes to Rudy's diner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rudy. Oh, Rudy.
Oh, Rudy.
So she's going to pick up some food, and guess what? Rudy is her dad. By the way, she pays $4.50 for like a sandwich.
And a drink in New York City?
And I was like, you lie.
And when she was like, put it on my tab, and then it was like, haha, dad. What? Anyway.
Also, this is one point that I think is really funny. So both Dad Rudy and Boss Max both have New York accents. They're not great, but they're New York.
Right.
Like, they're very intentionally New York, but no one else does. And so I started trying to picture. There's a little fruit fly around.
I know, I'm going to have to kill it.
I tried to picture her character, but with a New York accent, and I just started picturing the nanny. Like, I was like, take her out and put in the nanny.
Could you imagine if Fran Drescher tried to like sneak in? She'd be like sent away immediately.
But she could, she was a nanny.
I did think she was. I wrote, the only note I wrote $4.95 for that meal is crazy. And then I wrote her dad's accent is weird.
It's a lot, but I didn't know how good it was compared.
No, I would say it was a bad New York accent.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but at least it was subtle. Not subtle. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the other movies right now.
Yeah, no. We can't go there yet.
I'm sorry.
We're only talking about this one.
Okay.
Let me do the big reveal.
I agree with you. Also, they established that her mother passed away. That's important.
Yep.
They established she can't be there for Christmas, and they shoot a side comic that mentions that they're not going to have their normal corn dogs for Christmas. Did you hear that?
I did. I love corn dogs.
Corn dogs for Christmas. I thought of you immediately.
Thank you. Oh my God.
So yeah, can't do corn dog Christmas because she's going to Aldovia. Flash to the Aldovian airport.
Yep.
She is chilling with the other reporters. I'm going to bring up a really good costuming choice that they made. All the reporters are in black and she's in gray. And so she naturally stands out where they all look like a mass. Like, I noticed, I'm like, all the other reporters are one big black blob, and she's in gray, and I was like, super smart costuming.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, I really liked it. And so, yeah, she's at the airport. She's going for a cab, and a rude man with sunglasses and a beard steals her cab. Beard. Wonder who that man is.
I wrote, the cab is hijacked by the prince clearly in disguise. When I found out that beard was real.
I know.
Or supposed to be
when
real.
When I saw him later in his wild man beard thing, I was like,
I thought it was glued on for
me too. I'm like,
anyway.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, obviously he steals her cab, but she doesn't know it, and she calls him a jerk or something.
I think a selfish jerk.
Selfish jerk, yeah. I write it down later. Yes, it's a selfish jerk. But so we go to the press conference. All the reporters are pretty rude in this press conference. Yes.
They are on the way to, so she's trying to get a cab, right?
Yeah.
But then suddenly the press are just all on a bus together.
That's a good point.
When the guy was like, oh, is this like your first time in Aldovia? She's like, my first assignment ever. Or your first time covering the prince. She's like, my first assignment ever. Any advice? Pick a new career. I was like, oh my God. I was like, the apathy is palpable. And maybe it's just because like I'm having my own internal personal struggles.
With work.
But I was just like, Can
Nobody
anybody
likes their
find
job.
joy?
I'm so sorry. This
Are we
movie is
able
really
to do
triggering.
this really? Like, that's okay. I only cry on corporate time now, so.
Sorry, didn't mean to holler at you all. I'll move that laugh a little down.
I liked
with the
it.
sound.
You backed up.
I did back up a little. So yeah, the reporters are really rude. Also, there's an Aldovian flag, and I'm really proud of them for making a whole flag, and it's consistent.
Yes.
I'm proud of them for that. That's continuity. So this is this press conference, and guess what? He's a flake. He doesn't show up. Insane to me. It's insane that he doesn't show up.
Could you imagine? I mean, I guess like the only experience with royalty I truly have is
The Brits.
the Brits.
Yeah.
I've also never been too concerned with what they're doing.
Yeah.
But even at like the height of everyone being upset about like the Harry and Meghan stuff, I feel like they still went to all their obligations. Like they didn't just
still do what they have to do.
they do what they're supposed to do.
It's so weird to me that this prince can just not show up all the time. He consistently doesn't
full
show up.
year.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
so weird
it's
to
crazy.
me. But of course, she can't go home empty-handed, and so she does the next logical thing. She sneaks into the service entrance of the castle manor. Is it a castle?
It's a castle.
Okay, yeah.
And it's dope.
I love you. It's dope. And then, of course, because she's an idiot, in my opinion, she just starts openly just close-up dumb person pictures of all the scenery around her.
I don't even have words.
It was so ridiculous. I'm like, honey, can you make your presence any more known than slowly walking down an empty hallway getting close-ups of armor? I'm like, that's okay. I get it. You know what? Okay. She's got to get caught. And she does get caught by this man who, for this movie, we will never see again after these two episodes.
Isn't he Mr. Little?
He is, but you don't really see him anymore in the first movie.
Oh, got it. I was like, we do see, and then, you're
Probably
right.
because people complained. I felt like they made a lot of correction corners in the second movie. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't really a necessary character.
Just weird to me that like he had personality and then he never showed up in the movie again. And I was like, okay. But he's like, oh, you're American. You must be the tutor for Princess Emily. And so she's like, duh. She tucks that little press badge into her little scarf. And he takes her to meet the royal, I think it would be housekeeper, house manager. I tried Googling it, could not find the answer.
Mrs. Averill.
Mrs. Averill. I didn't know her name for the entirety of this thing.
I know it. I have a question that maybe you know the answer to.
Okay.
Was this the movie that gave me the crisis on how to pronounce poinsettias?
No, that was Christmas. Wait, no. That was Christmas Kiss 2.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Christmas Kiss 2.
Is that when they called?
Because I
I've
remember
always
her
called them
saying it.
poinsettias.
Me too.
And so then I heard poinsettias and then poinsettias.
Yes.
Which that one was, I was like, are you kidding me right now? Poinsettia makes sense because it is an IA at the end.
Yes. And maybe it was this movie, but I only remember it with...
It brought back...
It hit me too. When she said it, I was like, whoa.
I was like, nostalgia.
Yeah. Where's this coming from? Oh, yeah. Obviously, the housekeeper is mean. And naturally suspicious because the tutor's not supposed to be here till New Year's.
Which, it was weird to me that Mr. Little didn't know that.
I thought it was weird too. Like on reflection, I was like, why did he just assume this was the right person when this person's not supposed to be here for 2 weeks? And not only is he like, no, I'm right, he like advocates for her. Yep. He's like, no, keep her. Come on, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, okay. And I actually wrote, I wish he was Santa. If he had been Santa, then this would have been like a cute Santa moment of getting her in the castle. They missed a Santa.
Yep.
Anyway, so the housekeeper's like, fine, and she brings her to the queen, because she's got to meet the queen right away. And guess who's there? Mountain Man Prince. My goodness.
Yep, and he recognizes her.
Yes, they recognize each other. He's like, oh, selfish jerk, that's me. And actually, I immediately wrote down, well, he's delivering his lines well.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of him.
And he's handsome.
He is handsome. After they meet the prince, then Princess Emily comes in, and I think she's a really cool character in concept.
Yep.
Like, so she has spina bifida, and they do the classic mom thinks she's fragile, brother doesn't think she's fragile.
Yep.
But I actually really like, as we get into it, how that makes her character have more depth.
Yeah.
And then some of the elements at the end we'll talk about. I I liked her in the beginning, even though she's really mean.
I wrote Emily's a terrorist.
I call her a menace, a terrorist.
Menace makes more sense.
No, but she's awful. And oh my God.
The face.
I screamed.
Everyone, I'm screaming.
So we have to so for this chunk, the beginning of the movie, they do the quirky girl thing. They don't follow it through.
No, and it didn't start off.
No, she wasn't quirky girl in the beginning. She wasn't quirky girl in the end. She was quirky girl for this little chunk. I think it's maybe when she first meets the prince, like she's flustered.
Yeah,
so
which I did right.
She walks backward out of the room, and she hits a vase. And my instincts were that she was going to catch it. We were going to have the funny little catch. No, she breaks it. She wrecks this vase. And then she's like, oh, isn't it expensive? And they're like, it's Ming China,
15th century something,
and
something,
I just go,
blah, blah, blah.
Not a big deal, guys. Not a big deal.
I would have fired her on the spot.
I was like, how is she not fired?
I would have put her in the dungeon.
Put her in the dungeon. I'm like, nothing. We didn't have a conversation. We just laughed like, oh, quirky girl, leave the room. I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. It was the weirdest moment to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she doesn't get fired, and the investigation goes on as planned because she's got to get her scoop. Her boss is like, get it.
Her boss was proud of her for infiltrating the royal family.
She's like, if you go to jail, don't worry. It'll only be for 2 or 3 weeks. That's reporter life.
I can't imagine if that's true.
So she starts tutoring Emily, obviously because she's a main character going undercover. She doesn't know how to tutor. She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know anything. She memorized nothing to give her qualifications. And Emily is a menace. But very quickly, they have a very nice heartfelt moment.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool because she's flustered trying to figure out what her name is and trying to be a tutor. But Emily thinks she's flustered because Emily is
royalty
and disabled.
Mm-hmm.
And so Emily's like, oh, you're looking down on me like I'm a poor little girl.
Poor little rich girl.
Yeah. And then, of course, Amber's like, oh, sorry, Amber Martha. She's Martha right now. And I write her as Amber Martha for almost the entire movie. She's like, no, I thought you were a brave girl. And so naturally, they're best friends for life. Right?
Emily's instantly done. Done.
Emily
I was like,
no
you went from
yeah.
I'm going to put a mouse in your bed and terrorize you and make you run away to if I found out anything secretive about you, I'm going to keep that secret.
Yep. Yeah, no one's ever been
foreshadowing.
Nice no one's ever been nice to Emily.
I kind of think
for Amber Martha.
I think that's what it is. It's the only person who treats her like a human is her brother.
Yep.
And her tutors have all been very scared of her mom and her title.
Yes, and so.
And I also I don't know. I feel like Amber does not seem to understand that she's in the presence of royalty ever throughout the whole series. Even when she herself becomes royalty.
It's insane to me how much she can't do it.
Adjust. Yeah, no, it's really
it's
bad.
She never watched Princess Diaries. We all know. We all know the wave. We all know little things. Even her curtsy. Ragdoll. I'm like, what's happening? And I know what they're doing.
Quirky New York girl.
Don't even call her New York. It's weird. Not you, but it's weird
I
that
know.
she's like, I'm a New Yorker. I'm like, no, you're a Minnesotan, honey. I'm being rude, but it was just weird because I was like, I would never cast her in that position, in that character. Anyway, so she's Emily's new best friend and her only friend. And
God, wait. You know who actually would have been a terrible, terrible
get
movie.
Get ready for it. I know. Is it?
Christina Milian from
Shut up.
Snow Globe. One of the Snow Globes, not the one where she's the weird Santa character, but
no, the one
where she's New York.
Yeah, she's in New York.
That's who they needed.
I agree with
to make it worse.
But I would have believed Lacey Chabert.
I would have too.
But
honestly, I would have believed a brunette.
That's what I was gonna say.
What?
If she was a brunette, I would have believed it more. That's rude.
That's so rude.
I'm so sorry to all.
What's wrong
New
with
Yorkers,
us?
But
anyway,
there we go. So, because obviously she's going undercover, she's secretly a liar, and so now she's going to use Emily to get to the prince in the nicest way possible. Right. The prince is doing some archery. This whole archery thing's just—it's so silly. It's fine, and they have this really cute moment where he's helping her with the bow and the arrow, and it's real cute, and it's real close, and they're breathing on each other, and I'm here for it. but she sends the arrow flying through a window. And I went, you could have killed someone. You could have literally killed someone.
Not just through a window, into a painting.
Yeah.
She's destroying works of art in a castle, which means they're like real expensive. It's not like it's a print in my apartment.
Yeah, it's not Goodwill finds. Yeah, no, that's a good point too, because I was like, someone could have been seriously injured by that, and we're not gonna deal anything. Okay, I screamed again.
I wrote, I'm wrecked.
Yeah, that was legitimately dangerous. But everybody loves her. Yep. And, you know, best friends for life. Emily's like, come to this cocktail party tonight. And I swear, she's at this party trying to be a reporter, holding up her little phone, taking pictures of everybody. And that's going to be the thing she does. She always looks so obviously taking photos.
In all caps, I wrote, very discreet work with the phone, Amber.
But really, like, I'm like, it's not slick, bro. Stop it. You're being really awkward. But at this party, we meet our two antagonists. So this is where I did not know Simon's name. So I wrote, I kept writing Colin.
Oh, it's Simon.
So I wrote Duke Colin / Simon ? He's going to get the throne if Richard abdicates. So that's his motivation for being a bad guy. And then we get a little hint. She'll come in a little more later, but we get a hint of Lady Sophia, who dated Richard, but then broke his heart and made some drama that we'll find out about later.
But also, at this party, she's thirsty. Lady Sophia wants the D. D as in Dick. Dick as in Richard. Very proud of that.
This is why we can never have a show without you on it.
I know.
You are the heart of the comedy. You have the brain. That was amazing. It's gonna. That's a core memory for me now. Where am I at? After the party, Amber Martha is talking to her two coworkers over Zoom. Oh my God! If you guys watched my Instagram while I was watching this, you know how much this scene upsets me, because Amber is like, her motivation is that she's conflicted with the prince. Like, she's like, he is pompous, or like, he is blah blah blah, but there's something else there. It's vulnerability. She's really serious.
You're blushing.
Oh my God. They're like, you are smitten. And she's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, no, she's not.
No, she's not.
She's not smitten.
No.
There's nothing on her face she's not blushing.
No
she's
smote.
Not smitten. Nothing. And it happens for the rest of the movie. I don't think she's very in love with him looking.
No.
She has moments of fascination with him.
Yeah.
She never smitten with this man. Not in the classic way. So
No.
I blame the directing.
Yes.
I don't think it's
and a little bit of the writing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they kind of clashed on their motivations. I don't know. She can get kind of quirky happy, but in this scene, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I wrote, she definitely doesn't look happy in the next scene, where the prince is sitting all alone playing the first Noel to himself on the piano. But you know what? He's also a sad boy.
He is a sad boy.
So maybe it fits. Maybe she's a sad girl and he's a sad boy together. Next, we get a tree trimming scene. So we get some cheer points. Everyone's there. Duke Simon, Lady Sophia, the prince. Yeah. It's like a big castle thing. And it was really funny because the queen... Okay, so Simon makes a faux pas, which I really didn't think was that bad, but he was like, the king always made handmade ornaments. And he made this ornament, which he said was an elephant, but I think looks like a bear. Now, Ariel thought it looked like a bear, too.
I thought it looked like challah bread. I didn't think it looked like an animal at all.
Everyone was like, look how rude he is. I'm like, actually, I thought that was just kind of a comment that landed badly.
Well, I think he was like trying to be like, I knew the king too.
Yeah, like I was like, he gave us some establishing. I didn't think he was being really rude. They were like, whoa, why make fun of him?
But why make fun of our late, great King Dick?
It was just like a read the room problem. The family's together ever since the dad died. Maybe their nerves are a little raw. But so the queen pulls out an acorn that the king made. And I'm going to be dead serious. I laughed. I was like, oh, an acorn? I did not know there was going to be any significance because I'm a dumb audience member. And I was like, no significance to this. That's a silly little ornament. But okay, that's fine. She puts it up on the tree. And it's really funny because Lady Sophia is like not happy about Amber Martha being there.
No.
But like,
nope.
Richard's not even talking to her. Like, there's no reason to be sus about them.
She's
like,
really only talking to Emily.
Yeah, like she's literally the help. And she's like, I don't trust her. And I'm like, you have no reason not to. It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Like, he's not paying any noticeable attention to her. Like, just small talk, but okay. And then also Amber Martha is like jealous of Sophia. And I'm like, why? The man's paying no noticeable attention to you. And you do not seem noticeably interested in him.
2 women jealous over a man who doesn't know they exist. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's, yeah. But I also can't blame Amber Martha for being jealous of Sophia, because if I was around that man, I'd be jealous of any woman who spoke to him. That wasn't me.
Yep.
That would just be how it is. Mm-hmm. So, I wrote, oh man. So this next scene, what's in the next scene, Ariel? Okay, so in the next scene, Amber Martha's doing, like, typing up notes, looking at pictures, and I love her, like, shorthand notes. They're, like, little bullet points.
Terrible note writing.
It was really funny. But I was like, oh, she's going to get busted because Emily's in the doorway. So I was like, oh, Emily's found out. She's going to expose her. But no. No, actually, Emily's known. I think today she found out. She went on her computer without asking her.
Googled.
Did she Google?
Well, I think she went on her computer and then probably looked her up.
Yeah. She's known for a day, but Emily loves her and doesn't want her to leave. So she's like, you write a good story about my brother, a truthful story about my brother, and I won't give you up. And I went, well, that's good. At least it bodes well for when she gets exposed.
Yep.
She'll have Princess Emily to defend her.
Yep, Princess Emily will be like, I told her to do this, or I'm on her side.
So
we love her.
We love her. So that'll be good. That's fine. So yes, obviously, because she's a bad tutor, Emily's in full control. Yep. They're like, what do you want to do now? She's like, bake cookies. Emily wants to bake some cookies. So good cheer points on that.
Yep.
The next scenes are like literally just standard fill in for the audience what's happening scenes. So yeah.
We do get the first of many of this joke, which we won't bring up every time. But one of the reporters, the one who told her to get a new job, recognizes her with Emily.
Yeah.
And comes over. And at this point, Emily knows the truth, so no risk of exposure. I guess that's good, right?
That's good. Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I want an exclusive, blah, blah, blah. And so Emily's like, oh, you want an exclusive? And she's like, come here, and whispers in his ear, and then he takes off. And she tells Amber that she told him to leave the country immediately or she'll put him in the dungeon. And then she's like, just kidding, there's no dungeon. And we get dungeon, JK, there's no dungeon jokes for the next two movies.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did not write it down in this one because I was like, oh, that's a stupid joke. I mean, it's funny, but I was like, it's not relevant, so I didn't write it down. And then I should have, because I didn't realize it was going to be a core part of their personality.
Yep. It's core to the Royals that, just kidding, there's no dungeon.
There's no dungeon. It's not there. And that is happening at the charity festival.
Yeah, the holiday charity festival.
It's a charity for the orphanage. Mm-hmm. And the queen like gives a little speech. She's like, the prince is going to speak. But this man literally can't do anything right. He's not there. And he's playing snowball fights with the orphan boys, which is really sweet.
It's like the better thing to be doing, in my opinion. But I don't think you should shirk your duty when this is like your life. I was like, okay, I had to think about it. I was like, how old is he? He's his mid-20s. Mid-20s to 30s.
That was the math that I figured out based on the actor. I was like, he's mid-20s. I'm like, okay. I could see him not making the most responsible decisions. Yeah. But I was like, I get it, honey. But my God.
So for me, I'm like, abdicate or do your job. Don't leave the country hanging for a full year, not showing up, not being responsible, but also not handing it over to the next person in line. Like, I understand not wanting Simon to be king.
Yeah.
He sucks. Simon sucks. Actually, everyone will notice at this point, all the villains, that's my commentary. I wrote, Caroline sucks for Pemberley. Like, I'm just like, they suck. And it's like, good, they're supposed to. Yeah. Like, oh, they did a great job. But it's like, I get it.
Yep.
But also, do your job or don't. Like, don't leave your mom in these weird positions. Like, it's not like his mom's bad. Like, you're leaving everybody in the lurch in these awkward positions when all you have to do is just show up, say hey, and then go play with the kids. Like, you can do both.
Yes, you can be like, boys, you can teach them responsibility. And
come see my speech, then we'll snowball fight.
Exactly. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, it makes complete sense that reporters and the townspeople would be like, what's happening?
Yep.
Like, you're like, think about that for the Brits.
Mistrust.
Like, what if one of the Brits just went missing and the Queen had died? Like, there would be full chaos. They wouldn't even allow you to know the Brit went missing.
No, you never know.
It would be on their timeline. They would be like, oh no, we're just holding off for a minute. And they'd use like old footage of them or something like that.
Like they were doing the weird stuff with Kate Middleton when she was sick or whatever. I know.
It was funny until it was sad.
Yep.
And it is interesting because though I love being an Anglophile, I've never really cared about royal family, and when I was growing up, like, I didn't get it. Like, it was on all our tabloids, and I was like, I don't understand why we care at all. And now, like, I kind of like, but I still don't care. It's weird to me, and I'm like, do the royal family like pay for tabloids to like pay attention to them so that they don't forget we exist? I mean, we don't forget they exist.
It's weird because I don't think they're the only nation that has a monarchy,
but they're the only ones who seem to care that we know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the England, America.
That's a good point. They want us to still remember that they're their granddaddy, you know. Like,
we made you and we can break you.
Yeah, they're like, we're still here. We're tiny, but we're here.
Small but mighty.
We birthed you. It's like your mom continually calling you saying, hey, it's your mom. You know, like,
could you imagine?
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're about a third into the movie, and we're finally getting some romantic bonding scenes.
Yes.
So we get this, like, tobogganing scene, which I felt so bad because, like, she takes Emily sledding, which was a nice bonding scene, really sweet, because Emily's like, I'm really actually now afraid that I'm going to get hurt. And she's like, I'll take care of you, though I wouldn't trust Amber Martha at all.
No.
She broke a Ming vase. But the prince shows up, and there's, like, this snowball fight. But they don't include Emily at
Emily's
all.
a third wheel.
They don't. Emily's like, ha ha, and like throwing snowballs, and they're not paying attention to her in any way. It was so hilarious.
It was so good. We get a very good slow-mo scene of their faces
when they like fall
coming. When they like fall, and then Emily goes, I'm still here, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I think she just throws a snowball. Yeah.
Nobody knows you're there, Emily. We also get Simon and Sophia being like, what's going on? And Simon's like trying to get it, and Sophia's not trying to get it, but it does establish that Simon is still going for Sophia. That is going to be a thing for him. He really wants to be with Sophia.
Yes.
And she's not into it.
Until she is,
but
Sophia
she's not.
sucks more than Simon,
sucks.
honestly.
I have a love for Simon.
Oh, Simon really grows on me. By the end, I'm active, not the end of this movie, but by the end of this series, I'm actively advocating for Simon.
Me too. Second movie, I'm very pro Simon. First movie, I allowed him to be what he was, you know, which is not great.
No.
But Sophia is worse. But so, yeah, they get back to this. God, they get back to the freaking castle, and the queen's like not happy about the toboggans, but she's like, I've never seen Emily so happy. So don't worry, Amber does everything right.
Well, it's also she's like not happy because she wasn't invited.
It's like she needed to lay down the law, but not.
She was like, next time, invite your queen. Oh my God.
I know.
What is this movie?
I know. It's like they did every trope of one of these movies. They were like, stack it in, throw it in there. We're making Hallmark. And they were like, okay, they did it. But I think, Hallmark does it a little better. They're just used to it more.
And I will say, I've seen this movie. I know what happens. And I still was getting that anxious pit in my stomach for when the truth comes out.
Me too.
I was like, this movie is almost poorly acted, not really well done, and yet I'm still anxious.
Speaking of not really well done, I consider this next scene to be the weirdest scene in the whole movie. And the reason I say it's the weirdest scene is because it seems not to fit. This little sequence, this Beauty and the Beast thing that happens is very not this movie. It's really kind of cool. Like, outside of the movie, it's kind of cool, but in the movie, it's very odd. So the prince goes off by himself on a horse.
No one knows where he is. He's gone missing.
And Amber is like, I'm going to follow him. By the way, this implies that she saddles the horse herself, though she's never been on a horse.
Well, she has.
Oh, when she was a kid?
Well, she mentions she rides them in Central Park.
But I thought it was when she was a child.
Either way, I just said, I like that this New York City reporter can just ride a horse.
Yeah, she can just ride off.
I can ride a horse. I could not saddle and bridle and get a horse ready by myself at this point.
Yeah.
I could when I was 12 and actively taking lessons and like
Yeah.
But that's gone.
Nope. Yeah. No, it's really funny to me that she's
horses
just
are
like,
very big.
I know. The horse thing, I was like, okay, just get on the horse.
Yep,
Fine. Okay.
just on the horse.
So the prince takes the horse out. She follows because she's got to take secret pictures of him and follow him around. And she gets on the horse, and then she runs after him, which feels really intrusive and odd, like straight up following him. But so she loses the prince's tracks, and she's relying on the horse to know where it's going. She's like, I hope you know where you're going because I'm lost. And the horse, for no reason, bucks her, throws her off, which, by the way, can really hurt you.
Yep.
People can die from being bucked off a horse.
Yeah.
And this horse just does it. No reason. She's like, don't talk to me, and throws her off.
I'm telling you, I hope she learned to never piss off a horse. Like,
so she starts wandering in the forest at night. A wolf approaches her. What does she do? She sits down on the ground and starts backing away from it on the ground. It's baring its teeth at her. This is dark and like Beauty and the Beast in the forest with the wolves.
unnecessarily scary for this movie.
And then the prince shows up. He shoots a gun in the air. Number one, why does this man have a gun on him?
And yells like, go away!
Go on, get away. And then he walks away with her. He walks her away, and it's over. And I'm like, what was this? This quirky movie has this like haunting, she almost dies scene. It is so odd to me. But you know what? They had to get to the king's old hunting cabin so they could drink a little bit of whiskey and bond. Mm-hmm. So that's how they did it. I was just like, did the director have fun where they were like, we're going to make this real? Actually, we'll talk more about this at the credits. About this at the credits. Come back to it.
So again, this is where I noticed the royal Christmas crush because they're in that separate cabin together.
Wow.
And I was like,
that's such a good point.
What are we doing?
That's such a good point. Because I had noticed similarities, but I didn't see it on that level.
Because like they're in the cabin to escape from everybody and like learn. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, they're in the cabin and she's like curious. She's like, obviously, why do you want to abdicate? And he's really evasive, but he does fill us in that like he did love Sophia, but she told the tabloids something.
Where they'd be or something.
And he's really like anti-publicity. And that's why kind of he doesn't want to be king, because he doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. This is so weird to me. So he says, they're like kind of talking, he's kind of evasive, and then he goes, I want to show you something. And I'm like, why? You don't even know her. Like, you don't know this chick. Like,
why?
Why? I did not understand. He didn't even have a moment of like realizing he wanted to show it to her. It's like he brought her there to show it to her.
Yep.
Or maybe him and his character motivation said, this is why I'm going. She's here now, so I'll just bring her along. It just seemed weirdly unmotivated.
Yes.
But so he brings her over. And reads her this poem that the dad wrote to the mom.
And he thinks it was supposed to go along with the acorn ornament.
Yes.
That was her Christmas gift last year that she didn't get to get.
And you know me, I don't read songs in books. I don't read poems in books. I didn't listen to a word of this poem. Did not care.
Stupid girl.
I did not care.
It's important.
Should have cared. Didn't.
Yep.
And of course, they're about to kiss.
Yep.
Get almost one of those like... Yeah, the horses interrupt. That was the horses interrupting. And naturally, he goes to the horses and she starts snooping.
I mean, she is a reporter first and foremost.
I always forget she's a reporter. I cannot hold it in my brain. I cannot hold it in my
Amber.
brain. What?
I don't know her last name.
Where'd you get that last name from?
I made it up.
Is that another character?
I think it's like a real person.
That's a person we went to high school with.
Jingle that out.
That's hilarious. I'm like, where does that last name come from?
She's chewing the doorstop.
Randy Pandy.
Do you want something to chew?
I'll keep talking for a second.
Keep talking.
Yeah, she's like snooping, and she goes under the table and finds this little like lever thingy and takes out a secret file and keeps it. I was so mad at her.
We don't even get to see what's inside it.
No, I was so mad though, because I was like, don't you have feelings for this man? Why would you hide this for him? I don't know. It was weird to me.
It was
because she's so supposed to be like a good person. And then she hid this from him, and it's his dad's private thing. Like,
yeah,
it was out of character for her. Anyway, whatever.
Just a little thief is what I wrote.
I wrote, what in the actual heck? But so she's looking at this file in her room, and she discovers that the prince is adopted.
Bum, bum,
Dun, dun. Of course, the first thing she does is tell her 2 friends, which I thought was dumb. Like, why would you tell your 2 reporter friends?
They're just going to tell you to write an expose.
Yeah, they're like, this is going to make your career. I'm like, if you're really conflicted, these are not the people to talk to about it. Call your dad.
Which she does.
She does call her dad, but she should have just called her dad.
And she also didn't tell her dad the whole story. She just said, like...
She beats around the bush.
Should I do this thing if it's going to hurt someone but be really good for my job? And he was like, you know what's best. Yeah. And his advice is, like, don't do the wrong thing. Which is to write about the adoption.
Which is exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so they put that on pause for a second because the next day Sophia's going to come to Richard and try to like get with him. Mm-hmm. And Amber Martha walks in right as they kiss. And it is a very awkward kiss.
It's not good.
It looked like they just put their heads together and waited. Like, I felt like they just went... and paused
until the director says cut.
Until the director said it was until it was like, oh, she's walked out. Go ahead. Like, it was very odd. You were like, did you even kiss? Okay. Naturally, we're supposed to like assume that she's upset about this kiss happening. I don't see much difference in her demeanor, but that's me being judgy. When we catch her later, she's still looking at the birth certificates, and she's not attending to her feelings for him. So she's more about the birth certificates. And Richard shows up at her door. Like, let's go for a walk.
Opening that door. Yeah. Here we go. Get ready for my favorite phrase. When all the papers are just raw dogging on the bed.
Yes.
Like, not scooping them away, not cleaning up.
She just gets
like,
up.
She just gets up to answer the door. It could be, it literally.
There's no one safe.
There's no one at that who could be at that door that those papers wouldn't affect.
Yep. It was very odd. But she's
so bad.
It's very weird.
So bad. So Amber.
And it's really funny because they go on this walk, and you know what's gonna happen. Like, they're gonna bring up Sophia and their feelings for each other.
Yep.
And he's gonna be like, I'm into you because you're so genuine. Like, okay. And yep.
It's so messy.
Yeah. And she's like, I feel bad. And she like tries to tell him, but then he kisses her. And it was really funny because me in Realityville was like, so now you tell him after he kisses you. It's over. You just tell him. But she didn't. Of course she didn't. But meanwhile, the baddies, Colin and Sophia, are going through Amber Martha's room. And they find out her real name, and they find the birth certificates. Which I just realized they took the birth certificates.
They did.
How did she not notice? Oh, because she probably put them away and never looked at them again.
Yeah, because then the next thing is like the party, and then all the fun, and then the bad. You know?
I wrote, how do these characters sleep with all these lies hanging over them? I'd be a wreck.
Truly,
I can't be that. I can't be a liar like that.
No, I really can't.
I would have told him everything.
I would have told him immediately. I would have opened those papers and been like, Richard, what is this?
Yeah. Like, I would have walked up to him and be like,
explain this to me.
I'm sorry, I was snooping. It was on the table or something like that. Like, I would have made up a lie.
I would have said, like, oh, I dropped something. I saw this little lever. I pulled it. Like, sorry, I've just never seen a lever under a desk before.
Honestly, I would have just told him the whole truth.
Yep.
I would have been like,
I'm a reporter. My name's Amber.
I would have been like,
do you want to go bone now?
Yeah, let's bone. Let's do the thing. But yeah, so it's the last third of the movie. Richard's at his dad's grave. He's promising he's going to accept the crown at the coronation ball. And then we do like the whole Cinderella walking. Thank God they gave me a
staircase reveal.
I got a staircase reveal.
Ariel got her staircase reveal.
You guys will hear in other episodes, I get mad because we have staircases that are not used for their one and holy purpose, which is a dress reveal. But I got to say, I was kind of underwhelmed by this dress. I thought her eyes were really dark.
The eye makeup's crazy.
And her dress was really dark. It was not, I looked at Sophia's dress and I was like, wow, she looks really standout beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, they should have put her in a light blue or something that made her pop. The fact that everyone looked at her, I was like, maybe it's because the eye makeup's really heavy that they're looking at you. I don't know. But she shows that she's wearing her Converse gym shoes.
So quirky.
Quirky girl.
Quirky.
Yeah. She's like, I still have my gym shoes on. Anyway.
I'm wearing Converse today in honor of her.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's the details that matter.
Yep.
But by the way, because I watch so much Victorian content, I was just thought about immediately the fact that the prince gives her the first dance. That's a big deal.
Yep.
It makes a statement to the entire room that this is the lady he wants to be with. He didn't give it to his mom. Mm-hmm. He didn't do something with his sister. He didn't pick someone of higher birth. He picked the governess, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, us Americans don't realize how big of a deal it is that he gave her the first dance. And he's about to kiss her on the dance floor. That's huge.
Yeah.
But anyway, we all know what's going to happen. They don't kiss because it's time for him to get crowned. I was saying, I'm like, the crown's just chilling.
It's just here.
It's on the stage.
It's just a party accessory.
Big deal. No big deal. Okay, Chelsea, you're going to get so mad at me, but it's hilarious.
No. Okay.
So you know me and embarrassment. I hate it. I took out my headphones.
It's not even that embarrassing. What are you it's just a movie.
I wrote down what I thought was happening, play by play. So this is what I thought was happening. I had the thought to myself, how is there going to be a sequel if he's adopted? I actually did not know how they were going to resolve this issue. So I did have time to think about the fact that I didn't know how we were going to resolve this. I also thought about the fact that the royalty is pulling a fast one over the entire kingdom by never telling anyone this kid's adopted. They're like, we'll just lie till we die. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he goes up there, and I'm assuming they were like, if anyone objects, speak now. So I was like, frickin' Sophia objects.
It was speak now or stay silent forever.
That's hilarious.
So it's like, oh.
So Sophia objects. He's stunned. Everyone's stunned. Yep. She has the birth certificate with her. She's showing off the birth certificate to everybody. They're like, that's not real. I was assuming they thought she faked it or something.
I mean, what you missed is that they refer to him as a fraudulent Christmas prince.
I'm so sorry.
I
missed the details. I couldn't handle it, dude. I was like, why am I sitting through this? I wrote he looks betrayed, but actually I wrote he looks betrayed. There's an O in front of it.
Betrayed.
I like that word better. He looks betrayed. Oh, because there's some confrontation and we say it's Amber's fault. I don't know. They expose Amber.
Well, they say that she's a reporter and she had the documentation, but Emily they can't speak up for her in that moment. Yeah.
So she admits the truth in front of everyone, and then I'm assuming they're like, you made this up, but then the queen's like, nah, she didn't. It's real.
Yeah. And
he runs off, and then Amber runs off, and then Colin walks up.
Simon.
I wrote Colin because I didn't know his name.
I'm taking applications for a new co-host.
Please don't fire me. I'm going to bring Kyle in to read my notes for the next movie. That would be too funny.
But he would have no idea what the heck's going on.
That would be funny. So I guess he says he's going to be king now with his queen, Sophia. He picked Sophia. Mm-hmm. Stupid. Amber runs after Richard. Couldn't think of his name. Mm-hmm. And I read lips, and he was like, I don't know anything anymore. I don't know who you are. I don't even know who I am. I read the lips. And then she wants him to know the truth, and all I could think is that makeup is hurting her eyes. Her eyes are so red.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the makeup she's not trying to cry. She's not crying. The makeup is hurting her eyes. And he walks away, and she is sad. And then I put my headphones back in.
I don't have anything to say. It's actually not.
This is what you signed up for. Okay? Me is what you signed up for, Chelsea. So, yeah, Prince is being mad, yelling at the portrait of his dad, being like, why didn't you tell me? And the queen explains the whole thing. And she couldn't have children, so she felt like a really big disappointment. But then they were like, we can adopt. And he was their dream come true. And I loved this because they were like, Emily was our miracle child. And I love that also because she's disabled, and that happens so much where a late in age pregnancy, I was like, it gives her even more depth that she was unexpected and from a woman who was said she couldn't have children. I don't know. I just really loved. I thought it made her character have so much more depth than characters usually have in these movies.
And I think like it shows how much love she has for both of the children for their different ways of coming into her world.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then they kept it from him because they were like, you are our son. And they just could never bring themselves to tell him. But the queen's like, you're going to leave us. And he's like, I'm not going to leave you. Good boy. The one time he says, I'm going to stay. And she's so happy. And he kind of looks dead inside. But he's doing his princely duty. And they're like, what are we going to do about Simon? And he's like, I won't let him win without a fight. Meanwhile, Simon's marrying Sophia.
Yep.
So they can get the coronation going before the year ends.
Yep.
The 1 year time. But back at United Airlines.
Shout out United.
Amber's calling her dad, say she's coming home. Her dad's being really nice, trying to, silver lining the whole thing, saying it's a learning experience. And he says, failure plants the seed for greater successes down the road. And for some reason...
What did you say?
It reminds her of the poem about the acorn, which I completely forgot the words of. And she realizes, she runs to the castle. And it's so funny because they're like not going to let her in.
No.
And Miss Savril is like, no, you can't come in. And I'm like, valid.
Yeah.
But she's like, I can prove that I don't understand how she puts together that inside the acorn is evidence that the prince is actually the heir. Like, I have no idea how
it's just the poem, because it ends with, like, something is thicker than blood. So it's the poem basically says that there's some sort of thing about him not being royal blood. The seed of the acorn is the hint that there's something in the acorn. Like, the gift that he was giving to the queen was... She would read the poem, know to open the acorn.
Yes.
But since they were given to her separately and she didn't even see, She
didn't go to the hunting lodge ever. Yeah.
No.
Hilarious. But she knows there's a secret in the acorn. She grabs it. She pulls it apart. They're yelling at her. Yes, Chelsea?
Deus Ex Acorn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because really, I could not figure out how they were going to fix this.
I wrote Deus Ex Acorn as a note the minute the acorn was exposed. I was like, this is going to be important.
Yep. So she runs into the coronation, breaks it up right as Simon's getting that crown put down on him. And she's like, the king made a lawful right. He just basically changed the rules so that the adopted son, no, actually his son. It's not about adopted kids. I'm pretty sure it's just about Richard as the lawful heir. I don't think he changes it for everyone.
I don't, because they also, women still can't be the heir to the throne, which is why Emily doesn't have it and Simon does. So I think it's, just for Richard.
It's just for him. And so the coronation starts again. Everyone's very happy. And she leaves. I don't know if I'd leave. I don't know if I'd go home. She goes home.
I would go home.
Yeah, you would. I believe you. I don't know if I would. I think I would have been like, I have proven myself. I will stay to be with this man.
Yeah, no.
Like, I would be like shooting my shot.
I'd be like, bye.
I'll stand in the hallway.
This was horrible,
because
bye.
I know that I would have been redeemed so much that I would have at least another chance.
Right.
But maybe it was good that she left. Give him some space.
Yep.
So back in New York, her editor is like, you blew it. You shouldn't have written a good story about the prince because she writes the real story. And that's not what Beat Now
the one
wants.
she promised Emily she'd write.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, nope. And so she takes her Mac laptop and she quits. And flash forward to New Year's Eve at Rudy's Diner. She now works at Rudy's Diner.
Yep.
And Amber's blog, which I love it, it's called Amber's blog. That's what she named it, Amber's blog.
What if this was just Chelsea and Ariel's podcast?
That's what we're going to name the next podcast. Yeah. The Chelsea and Ariel podcast.
If we're going alphabetically, it should be Ariel and Chelsea podcast.
Oh, good point. Good point. I just put myself second to you because I love you so much.
Well, I put you second to me too, and I shouldn't have.
Please never fire me.
I'm thinking about it. Find that on the Chelsea blog.
Chelsea's blog. But her blog broke 20,000 likes. That time was, they're like, it's climbing.
Yeah.
It's going viral. I wrote, and then a bomb goes off because a snowball hits the window, but it was so loud. I just jumped. And it's their dates. It's the two best friends' dates.
And the third guy.
And then that third handsome man who's with them. And they're like, we got you someone. And she's like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, no, I'm still in love with the Aldovian prince, guys. I was this close. I would not have recovered by New Year's.
No.
And she hasn't.
No.
So it's 5 minutes to New Year's Eve. Everyone's doing the count. Oh, it's actually the countdown time.
Yeah.
They're counting down, and another snowball hits the window. And it's the prince. And how on earth did I forget that at the end of this scene, where they're making up and falling back in love, they get engaged?
I don't know, because I said, is this another 10-day proposal?
Yes.
So she arrived a couple days
2 weeks before Christmas.
2
weeks before New Year's. Because the original tutor.
Yep. And so 2 weeks before New Year's includes the 6 days after Christmas.
Yep.
So that's 14 minus 6 is 8.
Yeah, it's engaged in 10 days.
Oh.
It might be the most accurate engaged in 10 days, because
Yes.
I even think in Christmas Wedding Planner, it might have been a little longer.
Oh, I thought it was shorter.
Oh, was it like, I know that they were.
I don't know. There's no timeline.
There's a little bit, but it's very odd. And then, they get engaged. I was upset there was no product placement for the ring, though.
I know. It takes her a long time to answer him, and he says, how long do you plan to keep a king on his knees? And I was like, if this was smut. My goodness.
My goodness. Though, you know what? I would have said yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The ring's heinous, but yeah, I would have said yes.
Oh, God. I'm going to talk about that in the next movie.
Yeah.
But, handsome prince? Absolutely.
Handsome prince
I wouldn't think
flies
twice
to
about
New
it.
York to propose to me on New Year's Eve.
Wouldn't even
Okay.
think about it. Yep. Nope. Done. And so I was like, the credit music on this one is really somber. And I think it implies they didn't think it was going to be they didn't want it to be as much of a comedy. Because, like, in the later ones, they do bloopers. But in this one, the music's really slow. And I was like, were they trying to make this kind of a serious movie?
I don't know, because it's not serious at all.
I wonder if the editing changed it, or I don't know, because there's so many moments where, like, she's too serious. And I was like, did the director want something out of this that it wasn't?
I don't know, but it's clearly not that serious. One of her earliest lines is, there's nothing loose about this goose. Like, that's not, that's not serious writing.
I think the director was kind of fighting against the writing. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, what do we rate this thing? Oh, Chelsea.
Gave the plot an 8.
I gave the plot an 8 too. I said clever, but not wild.
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy, but it was clever.
It's not like small town. It's not the city bad.
No.
Like,
It's
any
tropes,
of that.
but doesn't overwhelm things.
Mysteries abound about adoption.
Yeah.
Will he be king?
Yep.
Is he a playboy? I don't know.
I
like,
think
it just
flowed fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel long, didn't feel short, felt fine. Yep. Let's do an easy one. What'd you give Cheer?
7.
I gave it an 8. I have no idea why.
I wrote all the Christmas things, but Christmas wasn't the driving force of this movie.
I actually realized, was there Santa?
No.
Then please get a 7. Because I did not realize there was no Santa. And come on.
Come on.
What do you want to do?
Romance?
Okay.
Gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7.
Okay.
I thought he carried it on his back.
Yes.
I thought the romance was all about him in terms of feeling it in any way.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. To use a Chelsea term, he carried it on his back.
He carried it.
And then acting.
A solid 6.
Yeah.
Do whatever feels right.
No, you know. So I was really mean in my head about the acting. And I was trying to be a good person about it. I'm going to stick with the score I originally wrote down, because for the next movie, I let myself be mean. So for this movie, put down an 8. I know. I thought the side characters did well. I thought the side characters were good. I thought he was good. I'm going to stick with it.
Okay.
And just you wait for my next movie.
fine. I go down from here too.
It's all downhill from here.
All right. So my final score was a 7.25. Your final score was a 7.5, making it a 7.375.
That is a middle ground score, and I can live with it.
Yeah.
I was worried my 8 would put it a little higher than I could live with.
While we were talking, I gave romance too high of a score, and I changed my romance score.
Oh, hilarious.
And honestly, 8 still feels pretty high, but I really liked him.
I liked him so much.
And I was rooting for him.
Yes.
I wanted good things to happen to Richard because Richard wasn't
Richard is good.
a POS.
Yeah.
Richard and so good. He really, some of his facial expressions, like the way he looked, I was like.
The way he looked at her, it gets it.
Oh, okay.
We have the
I'm melting a little. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm a big Richard fan. I will stay a big Richard fan.
Yep.
Yeah. So with that said, guys, next up is I always call it Princess Switch.
I don't know why.
Christmas Prince 2 will be the next episode.
The Royal Wedding.
The Royal Wedding. We'll be recording it in 10 minutes.
Yep.
Guys, keep on with the marathon with us. Oh my God. Please watch that one or listen to that one.
I was like, they can do whatever they want.
It's going to be worth it, in my opinion. The feelings are strong between us.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's worth it. It's the content between us is worth it.
Whatever's about to happen next is going to be crazy.
Oh, there will be an explosion. With that.
I think I take us out, right? Isn't that how that works?
Yes, that's how our show
It
works.
alternates whoever opens closest.
The amount of times we don't remember how it works.
Oh, boy. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us for A Christmas Prince. The next 2 will follow. So with that said, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what day it is, no matter what time it is, no matter what month it is, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's about to get so real.
It's about to go down.